What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Blitz Fantasy Football. Today, I'm here with the Dean of Fantasy Football and Danny Carpenter, the Fantasy Football Guru. We are talking the must-have running backs for the NFL season. We have 5 players for you guys to take a look at, and we think are valuable guys. Danny, I will start with you, and a player that has the potential to be the number 1 overall player in fantasy this year, Bijan Robinson. What do you think of Bijan and his outlook in 2025?
I believe that PPR is going to be a monster this year. His last 6 games after the bye last year, he averaged 23 points a game, and that doesn't count the last 3 games when Michael Penix Jr. was quarterback and he averaged 26.8 points a game. And it's amazing what happens when you take Arthur Smith out of an offense that they go towards their main players and use them like they're supposed to.
Yeah, 100%. And it's very fascinating. To watch the progression of Bijan Robinson throughout his career. Bijan is a guy that, his first year, like you said, Danny, dealt with Arthur Smith, moved on from him in his second year, saw a massive jump this year. And I think a lot of people are expecting a similar jump from him. Michael Penix is a player that doesn't necessarily have the rushing upside. Kirk Cousins didn't either. There is a lot of potential for him to have a good amount of receiving volume. Dean, what do you like about Bijan as a dual threat?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's one of the top dual threats in the game today. That's why he's going to be considered right in the early parts of everyone's draft. This Falcons offense is fully loaded with a lot of talent if they just haven't put it together, but he's been the consistent one. Like you said, we're not sure how much Penix is going to run out of the pocket, which could lead to inexperience from Penix to rely on Bijan on checkdowns. And then really when you get the ball in his hands, here come your fantasy points with him getting extra yardage, making cuts. So yeah, Bijan, total threat to be the entire package for fantasy.
I agree with you, Dean. He is the complete package. Danny, how do you feel about him overtaking Saquon as that number 1 running back spot on our draft boards?
I think it's pretty easy because the 370 rule with running backs. I mean, Saquon had that many touches last year, and it's hard for the guy to repeat, and it's hard to repeat even without that many touches as well. It's just way fantasy football is in the last 10, 15 years. It's hard for the running backs to stay healthy, hard for them to continue the offense flow they had the year before, and defense figuring them out too.
Yep, 100%. Let's get into our next player here, Jonathan Taylor. Dean, tell me a little bit about Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan Taylor was at the top of draft boards a few years ago. It's been a little inconsistent for him, not the spectacular finishes that he's had in previous. But listen, he's still 26 years old, still nice and prime, ready to go. And you look at the team he's on with the Colts, there's not very highlights on that team, and he is the focus on it. So you can definitely rely on Jonathan Taylor kind of having a resurgence this year. Definitely potential to be right up there with the top running backs in fantasy come the end of the year. Where he will go in your drafts may vary on fantasy owners, but Jonathan Taylor still has the talent and the ability to be a very impactful player on everyone's fantasy roster.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking at Taylor's numbers from last season here. Outside of his week 3 performance at the Bears, he did not have another 20-point performance until week 16. It really put a sour taste in a lot of, Jonathan Taylor truthers and Jonathan Taylor owners' mouths last season. But Dean, he still finished with 1,400 rushing yards. Like, this guy had a monster year in terms of his statistical production. We know that Anthony Richardson is a vulture on the goal line. He will steal those touchdowns. He will not throw to Taylor. He's mostly a standard guy to where Taylor's value is more important in those leagues. But the great thing is, Danny Dimes might be filling in for this team this year. Danny, why don't you talk about Taylor's potential addition in the receiving game and Danny Jones taking over at quarterback at some point?
Richardson's more likely to pull the ball down. Jones has got a little more experience. He's been in the league a little bit longer, maybe able to get rid of the ball, give it to my running back, let him do all the work instead of me getting hurt or getting hit. And Richardson's probably a bigger dude than what Daniels is too, or Jones is. Yeah. So it gives more emphasis probably on Taylor at the goal line than probably Richardson being in the lineup.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's very fascinating to kind of watch Jonathan Taylor's progression over these years. And with a different type of quarterback, you have a guy, he's had guys between like Phillip Rivers. He gets an Anthony Richardson type. Like, he has seen it all at the quarterback position. And one thing is true, Jonathan Taylor's floor, when he stays healthy, is a high-end RB2. I think like where he's being
Easily.
drafted right now,
Mhm.
it feels like a very good value getting Jonathan Taylor where he is right now. Let's talk about another player that I am super high on. It is Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard absolutely broke out last season for the Carolina Panthers. This team only made the right moves this offseason they needed. They had a ton of cap space. They had some holes in the defensive side of the ball. And I think that's the biggest thing why I think Chuba Hubbard is going to be in for a better season. This defense can't get much worse than what it was in the 2024 season. And I think that, listen, I think Chuba Hubbard is going to have more volume because of it. They brought in Rico Dowdle. Okay, that's nice. They brought in ETN. That's not going to eat into Chuba Hubbard for me. Bryce Young will continue to check the ball down. Hubbard might have more volume than last season, and this is an underrated offensive line in Carolina. Dean, talk about the potential of Chuba Hubbard this year.
Well, I think what we've seen during last season, we saw the belief in him too, getting an extension. And a lot of people were, rewind the clock. A lot of people were excited about Jonathan Brooks, but he goes down with another injury. And really no one wanted any part of the Panthers offense in fantasy, but Chuba Hubbard was the man. And like you said, this Panthers team is turning things around. I think they're ready to compete in that division that is usually up for grabs every single year. And Chuba Hubbard can absolutely feast. He can do it on the ground, but like you said, Bryce Young is one of the most consistent check down guys as well at the quarterback position. So there you go. Just you're icing on the cake while he's still producing on the ground, running between tackles and outside. He's still catching those short passes on the flat and making plays on himself. So there's a lot of potential for Chuba Hubbard to be an impactful player week in and week out.
Danny, how do you feel about Hubbard?
I think it comes down to Bryce Young. Bryce Young's steady improvement last year will help Hubbard this year going into the season. It takes defenses away from focusing on Hubbard. Hubbard's a do-all guy. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's got decent speed for his size and stuff, but it comes down to Bryce Young. If Bryce Young can continue to mature like he did in the last season, Hubbard could have a huge season.
100%. Let's get into our next guy here, and I'm going to jump back to you, Danny. Tell me a lot about RJ Harvey and why we keep hearing this guy's name constantly from our mouths.
I think the biggest thing with him is just the fact that he's going to have the opportunity to plenty of touches in that offense. Sean Payton's always have been a guy that uses multiple running backs, even with the steam there, and McLaughlin is there as well. Harvey's still going to probably be the guy. I mean, they drafted him as the 60th pick in the draft. He's got 4.4 speed. He had over 1,400 yards his last two seasons in college and scored 42 touchdowns. So he can score. He has breakaway ability, and he has good size to be a successful NFL running back.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is the numbers here that fascinate me the most. He ranked inside the top 20 last season among FBS running backs in breakaway percentage and elusive rating in the last 2 years. I mean, this guy passes the box score stats. He passes the analytical stats. He is in for a big season, and it tells me everything that Sean Payton passed on Amarian Hampton and said, no worries, we'll get our guy in the second round that'll step right in, be our RB1, a position that struggled last year for the Broncos and has for some time since Javonte Williams had some injuries there. I think RJ Harvey's in for a massive year, and he could be a guy that plays all three downs. Jaleel McLaughlin obviously is their third down back right now. He hasn't produced like they needed him to throughout his career. Dean, what are you thinking about Harvey?
Yeah, Harvey's just in one of the most perfect situations. We've talked about in the past where when we were approaching draft night, we thought kind of those like top 3 running back prospects could possibly be with Denver and it would just explode their potential. But they passed on those guys and they settled on RJ Harvey. You're in a Sean Payton system who he knows how to get production, especially fantasy production, out of the running backs. It dates all the way back to like Mark Ingram. Harvey's going to have the opportunity. He's going to be on the field. He's going to be in an exciting offense that surprised everybody last year, led by Bo Nix. So just the ceiling is so high for RJ Harvey right off the bat, which is really exciting. Especially, when you go to these redrafts and you want to take a chance on a rookie, he's a guy that may be an impactful player right from the get-go. So be on the lookout for RJ Harvey.
Yeah, and then another player within that division is our last must-have running back, Isaiah Pacheco. This isn't about the player itself, him being a top-tier option. I mean, last year he was priced at that. it's where he's priced right now, and the Chiefs not making any significant moves in the backfield to say, hey, Isaiah Pacheco, you're not going to be our guy. Yes, they re-signed Kareem Hunt, but we know that this guy is limited as a goal line back, an early down back. Pacheco was not healthy last season. It really showed when he came back from the injury. Prior to the injury, 2 really solid weeks where he was the bell cow back for the Chiefs, between 18 and 22 touches for this team. With the offense structure right now, he's able to get back down checks, all that type of good stuff that you want to see out of a PPR running back. And he's getting priced right now in the 9th round of drafts. That sounds like an absolute steal for me. And I mean, this guy, you draft him as your RB3 on your team and say, listen, best case scenario, I get the Chiefs starting running back for the year. He's going to get 15 to 20 touches a game, and he's going to probably be a high-end RB2. Worst case scenario, you see what you saw last year, and he only gets 7 to 8 touches, and he's basically like, what's going on with Isaiah Pacheco? I do not fall into that belief. I think Pacheco is going to step it back into that RB1 role in Kansas City because the Chiefs believe in him, and they made no significant draft acquisitions, despite having good draft capital to go get a running back. Dean, what do you think about Pacheco bouncing back this year?
Yeah, the opportunity is there. I think the entire fantasy community was ready to throw him out the window. I think that's why he's so low. And people thought that the Chiefs were going to throw him out the window, just get a new guy into the system, recycle. We've seen it before, right? But they didn't. They didn't at all. And I think people try to think that like Brashard Smith is going to be some impactful player. I don't think it's going to happen. They bring back Kareem Hunt, who, like I said, he's 29 years old. He's hitting that 30 mark where everyone gets so nervous about running backs. Pacheco, always primed to have that running back room to himself. Of course, you can get Kareem Hunt on the goal line, but the production is going to be there. And being on a high-powered offense like the Chiefs, it's always beneficial for the backfield.
100%. Danny, what do you think?
I agree. Absolutely agree. It's the opportunity. It's that offense. I mean, they're going to score points. It's what they do. I mean, last year they're a little bit on the low side scoring points, but that offense can explode at any time. And plus, with them adding Worthy last year and bringing him along late in the season, then you're going to get Rice at some point sometime this season. That offense may be moving along, even with a older Travis Kelce this year. But you got no Gray there, so got another guy in that offense where it takes some of the pressure off the running backs to being the main guy. But if you can get 15 touches out of on a Kansas City running back, hey, I'll take that every day.
100%. And those are our must-have running backs. I can't even talk anymore at the end of this video, but the must-have running backs for fantasy football. Let us know down in the comment section below if you believe in these guys heading into next season. Me, Danny, and Dean will catch you guys next time on Blitz Fantasy Football, and make sure you hit that subscribe button.